So my name is Murph. I'm a air conditioning technician. So I work on air conditioners all day, and I see people all day, and all I do is talk to them about air conditioning units and what's wrong with their unit or what they can do better to maintain and keep their unit from breaking down on them. So a lot of the conversations I have with these folks are repetitive, and there's a lot of themes that come out, and I decided I could just take a few minutes and post something on YouTube that is good for not other technicians necessarily, because it'd be just so fundamental, but just homeowners, people who don't know anything about air conditioners and just want to know very basically how it works beyond just like the thermostat and magic air comes out, cold or hot air based on where you put the number. So this video is for that. Let's just jump right into it. So this picture here is of the two most basic parts of an air conditioning system. In a way, the two coils. There's the condenser coil, which is inside the condenser, which I've written in my trash handwriting on the left, and the box on the right that's circled is called an air handler. The only other thing it could be is a furnace, and these are also referred to as the indoor coils or the indoor units, because the condensers are outside and they're made for the elements. They can get rained on and it'll be fine. The indoor units are indoors, obviously, and in the same way the condenser has a condenser coil inside that box. Inside the box on the right at the air handler or a furnace, which is also a box, there's something called an evaporator coil in those indoor boxes or indoor units. Again, technically they're called air handlers or furnaces, and they're indoors. So that makes up a split system, which is either there's a condenser outside and then there's an air handler or a furnace inside, and that's what we call a split system. A package system are those two things in one box. Very simple. They're called package units, and they're either on a roof, which is very common, or they're on the side of, let's say, a trailer home, a mobile home. That's usually where they are. There's a component in air conditioning systems called the blower motor. That's a fan motor inside, usually inside the air handler or furnace, and that's connected to your ductwork. It's connected to the openings in your ceiling, in your drywall, where you put your filters, and it's connected to the supply vents that pushes cold air out. So that blower motor is very significant in heat transfer, and a lot of questions I get are about the filter. Should I change the filter? How often should I change the filter? You should change the filter whenever it's dirty, and it differs by household, how many pets you have, what's your cleanliness level like, things like that, and other things outside of your control. But you know, it really varies. It can be 3 months, it can be 1 month, in extreme cases even sooner than that. And if you don't change your filter, it can significantly impact the efficiency of your system, and it can really do some damage. It can even frost up your evaporator coil, because if air can't get from inside the home and across the coil, the evaporator coil, then the evaporator coil can't absorb heat, so it just stays perpetually cold, and then it keeps getting colder and colder below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, to the point where when water forms and condenses on it, which is normal, it actually creates ice and freezes, which is a very common thing for service techs to see. So filters are important. I get asked them about that a lot, and they can really impact your system if you don't change them out regularly. The blower motor, let's go back there for a second. So there's duct work inside the home usually. The type of duct work it is varies by home and how old your home is and what market you're in. For example, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. We used flex duct, which is the picture you're seeing right now, up in attics. It's very common, and what that is that's air. That's a highway for air to travel, and it helps with heat transfer. So you'll have a duct system in your home of some sort. It could be metallic hard duct. It could be this flex duct here. It can be even weirder, kind of like concrete, underground, underneath the floorboards kind of system. So it can vary, but there will be, you need ducts for air to travel. So just be aware that exists in your home. And the blower motor is kind of the king of this realm, because the blower motor is what creates the negative pressure that sucks air in from the home to go across the evaporator coil and remove heat that way. And it also creates the positive pushing force that pushes the cold supply air out of the supply vents throughout the different rooms in your house. So the blower motor is what controls both of those forces, the sucking in and the pushing out. And just be aware that you have ductwork in your home of some sort. This is a picture of a condenser coil, and what we're going to talk about here for just a second is cleaning. So what a lot of technicians offer during maintenances are cleanings, and they're worthwhile. The big thing here is cleaning coils, cleaning the blower motor. That improves the efficiency and the longevity of the system, and they are worthwhile. It's nothing catastrophic, but it's preventative maintenance, and cleanings are definitely good for improving the efficiency of the system. Capacitors are the number one most common repair that service technicians make in HVAC. I have 100 of them in my truck, all different sizes. They come in something called microfarad ratings, and we're certainly not going to get into how these things really work. We're just for the purposes of this video, just think of them like batteries, AA batteries, AAA batteries, and they lose charge over time. And if they lose their charge all the way, motors will just not turn on. Condenser fan motors at the condenser, or your blower motor, which we've talked about already, if they take a capacitor, the capacitor will make the motors not turn on. They are extension of the motors. There's three motors. There's the blower motor, there's the condenser fan motor, and there's the compressor. So that's what capacitors are. They're batteries. They're very common on maintenances. We recommend changing them out if they are below about 10% of the rated value. So just be aware that they are a thing, very common repair that we make as technicians, and they need to be replaced maybe 2 to 3 times throughout the lifespan of a unit. They often lose their charge more quickly if it's extremely hot, or if there's a lot of over voltage, which can happen from the electrical company. You can get a surge protector to address that. Just want to return to this picture one more time and close out here, I think, and just end at a very high level and hit some stuff. The condenser rejects heat outside. That's why the top of those condensers are hot, because it's rejecting heat, and it should be hotter. It should be rejecting air hotter than what it is outside. So I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. If it's 105 degrees outside, it should be about like 110, 115 degrees of hot air blowing out of the top of that condenser. And the job of the condenser is primarily to reject the heat that is absorbed inside the evaporator coil, which The box on the right, if you remember, is your air handler. If it's a heat pump system, it's called an air handler. And then if you have a furnace, it's just called a furnace. And those are the two types of boxes inside. They can be in closets, they can be in your attic, they can be in your garage, and there's an evaporator coil in there. And the evaporator coil's job is to absorb heat from inside the home. And it absorbs heat by having the blower motor push hot indoor air across that coil, which ultimately leads its way out to the condenser, and then the condenser's job is to reject heat. So the indoor box, which is the air handler of the furnace, has an evaporator coil in there, and the evaporator coil's job is to absorb heat. The condenser coil outside in the condenser rejects heat, and that is as simple as I can put it. And that's probably, if you're starting from nothing, that's probably a good stopping point there. I hope you learned something in this video. I wanted to keep it really simple and just kind of cut it off there. I'll make some more, go into a little more detail on some other stuff. There's so much to cover, but I hope you learned something. And feel free to follow me on Instagram as well. I post videos of me working and just HVAC stuff in general. If you have any questions, just leave a comment and I'll try to answer it when I have time. Have a great day. Thanks.